The moment a man sits down, something shifts, not outside, inside the room. You finally stop moving. Phone down, shoulders drop, breath slows, and suddenly tension, a sigh, a comment, a task that cannot wait. Why does peace trigger conflict? Here's the dark psychology most men never notice. Your rest isn't neutral. It sends a signal. In the primitive brain, a resting man looks unpredictable, uncontrolled, harder to manage. When you're busy, exhausted, running, you're safe. You're useful. You're predictable. But when you're calm, your mind wakes up. And that's dangerous, because a man who rests starts thinking. A man who thinks starts noticing patterns. And a man who notices might change everything. So the irritation you feel isn't about chores. It's about control slipping. The truth most people won't say out loud is this: the anger isn't conscious. It's biological anxiety dressed up as morality. In dark psychology, rest equals loss of momentum. And momentum in many relationships equals security. A man in motion is reassuring. He's building, providing, proving. But a man at rest triggers a silent question. What if he stops needing me? That's why the criticism never sounds honest. You're wasting time. We have so much to do. You've changed. None of those are about tasks. They're about fear. Fear that stillness turns into independence. Fear that peace turns into clarity. Fear that once you rest, you might realize how tired you've been. So the pressure starts small, subtle, relentless. Because keeping you tired keeps you compliant. And eventually, she doesn't even need to say anything. You feel it anyway. You sit down and guilt hits. You relax and anxiety creeps in. You enjoy yourself and your mind whispers, you shouldn't. This is conditioning. External pressure becomes internal control. You rush through rest. You justify hobbies. You apologize for naps. Because rest has been framed as moral failure. Working equals virtue. Rest equals laziness. And lazy men, you've been taught, are worthless. So even silence becomes loud. Even peace feels wrong. Burnout becomes proof of love. Depletion becomes devotion. But the man who never rests loses perspective. And a man without perspective can't see he's being drained. Then comes the double standard. Her rest is self-care. Your rest is avoidance. Her phone time is emotional regulation. Your screen time is addiction. Her spa day is recovery. Your fishing trip is selfish. Not because the activities are different, but because your rest removes leverage. A rested man is harder to guilt, harder to rush, harder to manipulate. So your relaxation must be rebranded as irresponsible. And the moment you point this out, you're defensive, cold, selfish. Because exposing the double standard threatens the system. This was never about fairness. It was about who gets to stop moving. Ask this question and watch everything surface. If I didn't have to work anymore, would you be happy if I just relaxed? Most don't respond with relief. They respond with panic. Because money was never the point. Control was. A man with resources and time is unpredictable. He might explore, think, build a life that doesn't revolve around anyone else. That's why ambition is praised, but freedom is feared. You're allowed to succeed as long as success keeps you busy. Allowed to earn as long as earnings flow outward. The moment rest becomes permanent, questions appear. What about purpose? What about goals? What about responsibility? Translation, what about your usefulness to me? Here's the part no one wants to admit. Exhausted men are easier to manage. When you're tired, you don't argue. You don't reflect. You don't plan exits. You just survive. That's why chaos appears exactly when you try to rest. A sudden problem. A manufactured emergency. A fight that couldn't wait. Because a rested man has bandwidth. Energy creates options. Options threaten dependency. Some partners don't plan this consciously. Their nervous system just learned one thing early. Busy man equals safe relationship. So peace feels like danger. Silence feels like abandonment. Your calm feels like rejection. That's why projects appear, lists grow, crises multiply. Not because things need doing, but because stillness gives you power. Then watch what happens when a man finds joy outside the relationship. Suddenly it's a problem. Your hobby is childish. Your gym time is obsessive. Your gaming is immature. Your fishing is escaping. Because hobbies create something dangerous, a self. A man with interests has an identity beyond provision. A man with joy doesn't beg for validation. So the erosion begins, one hobby at a time, one guilt trip at a time, until your only role is service. And when men finally leave, they hear, "I gave him everything." No, you took everything that made him human. This programming starts early. Be strong. Don't stop. Rest later. Men are taught rest is a reward, not a requirement. So when a man slows down, it violates the script. Rest looks like weakness. Peace looks like failure. Pressure doesn't build strength. It builds numbness. That's why sickness is ignored. Burnout is mocked. Injury is minimized. The machine isn't supposed to break. Here's the clearest test of all. Take one full day. No fixing, no earning, no proving. Just rest. Watch the reaction. Does your partner protect that space or attack it? Anyone can tolerate you when you're useful. Only someone who loves you tolerates you when you're inactive. If they shame your calm, create drama, question your character, they're not reacting to laziness. They're reacting to loss of leverage. Because your exhaustion kept the balance tilted. Your peace levels the field. This is why rested men see clearly. They connect dots. They reassess relationships. And that terrifies those who profit from depletion. Here's the final truth. Rest isn't the problem. Awareness is. A rested man thinks clearly, feels deeply, chooses intentionally. Systems built on extraction collapse when the resource becomes conscious. Men are choosing rest, protecting downtime, valuing peace over constant proving. And the reaction is predictable. Shame, mockery, fear. Because exhausted men are controllable. Rested men are not. Anyone who loves you wants you healthy. Anyone who needs you depleted wants you busy. So watch who guards your rest and who attacks it. That tells you whether this is partnership or exploitation. Rest doesn't make you weak. It makes you dangerous to systems that feed on your exhaustion. So take the nap. Enjoy the hobby. Protect the silence. Because a man who rests sees the truth. And once you see it, you can't unsee it.